Kayla Jacobs. Here. Jerry LeBeau. Daryl Anderson. Morris Albright. Here. Ingrid Holmes. Here. Caprina Frank. We have a quorum.
Thank you. President Anderson is running a little late, but he will be coming in and chairing the meeting as soon as he gets here. Beverly, would you please give us the invocation? I'm sorry.
I was ready to get started like you.
Father God, we come once again. Thank you for your many blessings. Thank you for allowing us to be able to attend another meeting. We ask that you please be with our president as he makes his way to this meeting. We ask that you continue to bless all the board members, staff, and our interim CEO in a mighty special way. Let's continue to be about the business of the Economic Development Corporation of the city of Port Arthur. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Thank you. The pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board, you've received copies of the August 4th and September 15th regular meetings. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second? Second, it's been moved and second to approve the minutes. Question?
Ms. Raymond, can you speak into the microphone, please?
I apologize. Okay. I want to read last month about the correction regarding the minutes. It stated that I abstain along with Kayla Jacob, Darrell Anderson, Ingrid Holmes, and Caprina Frank. I asked for a correction on those minutes and it have not been made. I need the correction.
August 4th?
Yes, that's correct. I brought it to the last meeting and it's still stating the same as the meeting last month.
Okay. My understanding is the minutes were reviewed by Ms. Garcia. Was there a different outcome than what she
Garcia's outcome still had to be corrected. It was not an abstained vote.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get that corrected.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
make a motion to table August 4th regular meeting board minutes and move for acceptance of September 15th.
A second on that? It's been moved and second to table the August 4th meetings until 4th meeting minutes until they're corrected and approved September 15th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to, we have no public comments. Any public comments? Okay, we'll move on to presentations. Ms. Natalie Gonzalez, Vice President of Client Services with Grant Works Contractual Services. Is Ms. Gonzalez here?
Yeah, we do have a representative. Ms. Gonzalez was not able to attend, but we have Ms. Michelle Bobo here with Grant Works, as well as Mr. Tyler Engel on Zoom to give the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Bobo? Thank you for being
Thank you
here.
all for having Grant Works here today. We are going to have Tyler present. He is our economic development expert. I'm a client services manager with Grant Works, and so whenever I can be a boots on the ground person, I'm here. After the presentation, I will be here, so if you have any questions that Tyler can answer, I will be happy to answer those for you. I've left one of my business cards at each of your tables. If you didn't get one, I have some more. You can raise your hand, and I will make sure you have one before I leave. Tyler, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
We can, yes.
Excellent. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody from Tennessee. I'm so glad to see you and to be able to speak with you this evening about Grant Works economic development offerings and how we can help Port Arthur extend its economic development goals. My colleague, Nasia Corbett, was scheduled to be at this meeting but was unable to attend, and so I'm standing in for her this evening. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So there I am, Tyler Engel, and there's my colleague Nasia. Together we have over, 25 years of experience combined, and then once you put our unit together, we have nearly 100 years of experience in economic and community development. And that's just among about 4 people. So we've been doing this a long time. We know economic development. We know how to put projects together that are successful, that are going to make your community grow and thrive, help your citizens be more successful and more prosperous, which is what we all want. So let's go to the next slide. I want to share some facts with you about GrantWorks. We are the only full-service national grant firm in the United States. We've been in business for 46 years. We're headquartered in Austin, but we have folks all across the country. Just as I said, I am in Upper East Tennessee. My boss, Dr. Julie Norman, lives in Charleston, West Virginia. Others still live across the country. We have nearly 90 satellite offices. We've achieved $10 billion with 5,000 grants, helping over 625 communities. And we have a proven approach to economic development grant writing. We have a 95% economic development grant approval rate. The national average is 15%. And I'll explain why that is in just a few minutes. GrantWorks is organized by areas of focus and activity. So we have a department that does housing, one that does planning, another for labor compliance, which is required for federal grants. We have an environmental unit. And of course, our economic development unit, which I'm a little partial to, which includes myself, Ms. Corbett, as I mentioned, Dr. Norman, and Mr. Zakian. Last year, GrantWorks was contracted by the Appalachian Regional Commission to develop and deliver a robust 9-week training program on how to identify, secure, and manage federal grant opportunities to 90 impoverished communities across the Appalachian Mountain Range. 180 participants were selected from 90 local governments across 13 states. So that is to say we are nationally viewed as experts in this arena. When you look at federal agencies, there's the Department of Commerce, which includes the EDA, and the EDA is really our bread and butter in the Economic Development Unit, but we can, at GrantWorks, apply for any grant that is intended to produce economic development outcomes. Just a few agencies that fit with that are the EPA, HUD, the Department of Labor, the Department of Agriculture, Homeland Security, which includes FEMA, the Treasury, which includes CDFI funds, USDA, which includes loan and grant. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. So you've heard the adage, it takes money to make money. And honest to goodness, there is more federal money now than ever before. Our group knows better than anyone that economic development doesn't just bubble up out of the ground. It doesn't happen by osmosis. You have to prepare your community to make it conducive to economic development. You need the right infrastructure in place for businesses. You need roadways. You need street lights. You need sewerage, water, fiber optic internet nowadays. You need electric power. All of those things. And all of that takes what? Money. So that's why we're in the business of helping you find that money. and we try to help match your community to the best possible grants. And thankfully, again, there's more money available than ever before. So let's say you have a project, but you need a grant. What do? Well, I hope you come to GrantWorks and discuss it with us. We have a rigorous vetting process that we go through with our clients, which is on the next slide. We want you to meet the following requirements, or our client communities to meet the following requirements. We want you to have 30% project design, or to get there within the next 60 days. We want you to have 50% minimum match to cover the project cost, with the other 50% being EDA. There needs to be a private company. And you might say, well, Tyler, there's all these construction jobs building this road, where you might say, oh gosh, well, we're going to build a new city hall, and look at all the city employees that are going to be working there. Well, unfortunately, EDA doesn't count those jobs. They only count jobs that are created by a private corporation. We have to prove economic distress. Unfortunately, we know that some communities suffer from private sector job loss, poverty, unemployment, similar things like that. And then lastly, you need to have control and ownership of the site or the right-of-way. So, unlike other firms, we don't just engage with clients because they want to hire us. I mentioned our 95% success.
Sorry, guys, hold on one second. We're having some technical difficulties.
No problem, it happens.
There you are.
There
Okay.
it is. Everything's,
We're good to go, Tyler.
And if I need to back up, tell me. I'm glad to go over anything that we might have missed. Let's go to the next slide. So a lot of people get really intimidated by the grant application because it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of forms, it's a lot of doing. But that's really the easy part. We make sure that you're aligned with your regional comprehensive economic development strategy. We ensure that you have an environmental review, PER, which is a preliminary engineering review, and we match you with an experienced grant writer with a history of success. The hard part is the administration. Monthly progress reports, quarterly financial reports, labor and wage requirements, job creation. So, you know, in a small community or a middle-sized community, you may not have staff capacity to do all that. And our staff has the experience, knowledge, and know-how to guide you, lead you through successfully meeting all of the compliance standards set forth by the EDA or whatever funding agency that you may. Big cities, you usually don't have the capacity, as I said. Our fee for administration is typically between 6 and 8% of the total project cost. And the great thing about that is you don't have to necessarily pay all of that. It can be built into the grant. So,
Sir, if you want to hold just a second, the video is not showing, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can go down to. Was his last slide? Okay.
Yes.
It was the last slide, so I was getting ready to say whatever questions you have, I'm glad to answer them.
I think, Tyler, probably if you can repeat what you said about our fee. I think that's when, when it went out.
That's the important part, isn't it? The money. So the fee for grant administration is a sliding scale. It's typically between 6 and 8% of the total project cost, and it's built into the grant budget, so there's no additional out-of-pocket cost for you. And this fee includes everything for the life of the grant. So that's not 6% every year, that's 6% over the entire time. It includes all those reports and all of those hundreds of pages of forms and compliance documents. So, again, any questions from y'all?
Any questions?
All right, just so I've got this right in my head.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's say we want to go for an EDA grant to develop something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we go to you, tell you we want to do it, and the upfront cost is, if I remember right, between 6 and 9,000?
Something like that, yes, sir.
Okay, and then y'all's 95% success rate, you'll tell us, yeah, it's a good, worthwhile project to do, correct?
That's correct. And the way that we do that, sir, is we work closely with the EDA folks. We go back and forth with the folks in the Austin office to ensure that the project meets their standards.
Okay, and then after that, for the next 1 to 5 years or however long that may be, on that 6 to 8%, you're building that into the grant itself, correct?
That's baked in, yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, with that, thank you so much, Ms. Bobo, Mr. Engel. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Certainly. We'll move on to the CEO's report.
I just wanted to confirm with Crystal, the agreement had previously been
It's not on the agenda because the board previously approved. So if there are no other questions or concerns, then we'll move forward with executing the contract. Okay. Tonight, as
I
part
got
of...
questions that you mentioned, I'm sorry. Once you mentioned previously, so it's previously approved for how much? Previously?
22,000, not to exceed 22,000 for 2 years. So it's 11,000 per year.
So when did that change? I thought it was 50. When did it change to 22?
No, ma'am, that was what was presented to the board and council.
Council when?
I'm not sure, Ms. Raymond. I would have to look and see when it was presented. Can check on when that was approved, Ms. Raymond, and get that to you. It's not to exceed 22,000. 3 years. Yes, with the option to renew at $11,000 per year after that.
But we're not paying them anything unless we use.
Correct. Okay, in your packets, or on your desk rather, underneath your packets, you have a few handouts that were provided to you all. These are just a couple of happenings for the PAEDC at the moment. We are advertising or assisting Lamar State College in advertising for their CDL Class B class, which is starting up soon. Behind that, you have the annual job fair that the PAEDC has taken part in, along with the Chamber of Commerce and a couple of other stakeholders. That will take place on October 15th from 10 to 1 o'clock. Behind those two flyers, you have the flyer for the PAEDC's very first Small Business Power Hour. This is a small business series. It is an informational type series for entrepreneurs and small businesses looking to gain more information on starting up or enhancing their small businesses and entrepreneurship efforts. On that first page there, it shows you the plan for the next 6 months for that series, and then the last page in that packet shows you the one that is upcoming on October 16th. This one is an entrepreneur. This one talks about the entrepreneur's mindset, and then it'll show you there the panelists planned for that event. We would love to have board members participate if you are available that evening. It will take place at the Press Building from 6 to 7. Underneath that packet, the board has another packet underneath there with the responses for the General Legal Counsel RFP. If you will take that home, review those, there is a grading matrix on it as well for you. So we'll get with you all to get that back and hopefully have that on the next board meeting agenda. Next, we have our financial report from Ms. Jackett.
One question before we proceed to Ms. Jackett. You said CDL program going to be starting in? The CDL program have already started?
This one starts on October 13th.
What other programs do we have in progress right now? Any other programs in progress right now? Any other
Progress?
program?
No, just the CDL program.
Okay, and when will? And what other programs is going to be in progress and when?
Sean Granger is here tonight. If he can give you a refresher on those upcoming programs, but they will have to come before the board first. So there is actually a few that he's working on, but none are set in stone until the board approves those in the budget for them. Okay.
Yeah, right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sean.
to us right now, right?
Sean,
Sorry.
if you can step up and just give them an overview of those that we budgeted for.
Only budgeted. When are these programs going? What's your date, the tentative date, of when you're going to begin the programs, and what programs are you looking at?
Okay, so we were looking at, good evening, board. We are actually looking at, because it's going to be based off of the approval of the board and the actual approval of council, but we were looking at presenting those starting in November. Currently, right now, we are working a few, so I'm just trying to get the last strings tied up on those different items that we have, but we are pushing. I still have several meetings this week that I'm meeting with actual training organizations to get the last bit of the information so that we can present it. Once we present it, we want to make sure that we do have the full details that you all need so that we're not having to go back and forth 2 or 3 times.
The last meeting, we requested, you gave a presentation as well as our marketing person, and she sent an email. We did not receive your presentation by email, at least I haven't. Could you please make sure you send an email? Because I know you had a presentation of the different jobs, and you spoke about it, and one thing we did request is that you send an email of that presentation. We did receive from Marketing Insight, but we did not receive yours. Could you do that for us, please?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Board of Directors. Tonight I'm going to go over your August financials report. It's just going to be a short summary. I'm going to begin with, first off, does everyone have the report in front of them? Okay, great. I'm going to give a...
Are you doing the colored one or the half page?
They're actually both the same. The first sheet gives you a summary, but if you want to see what those details are, you look at the second colored sheet. Yes, so whichever one that you can follow is, I like the colored sheet, yes. Okay, great. So I'm going to give you a short overview on our revenue for August only. In August, our total revenues came in at $992,309. The primary drivers this month were sales tax revenue at $757,000, consistent with expectations. Interest on investments performed strongly at over $150K. Although the revenue covered the months of June, July, and August, it is continuing a positive trend. We also received $75,000 from a land sale, which, while one time, it contributed significantly to the month's revenue. Other revenue lines like rental income and assessment fees were modest. No reserve funds transfers were utilized in August, although it's expected to expense in the month of September. I'll give you a quick overview on your expenditures. The total expenditures for the month were $244,862, limited strictly to operating expenses. There were no capital outlays, no debt payments, or transfers recorded in August. Your final position. August closed with a net surplus of $747,447. This surplus was driven by strong revenue performance and low monthly expenditures. It is important to note that while this creates a positive cash flow for the month, we are likely to see higher spending in quarter 4 as delayed capital and transfer items begin to move forward. Our key takeaways and our next steps for the month of August. August was financially healthy, but the low expenditure level signals potential delays in planned capital and discretionary spending. Finally, we need to prepare for anticipated quarter 4 outflows, so the budget executes as intended by fiscal year end. At this time, we have no concerns for the month of August, and your budget is still sound. I will present the next month's report, which will be September. That is going to be contingent on when the city close out everything. So you might see the first month of October before you see September. And then I'll give you an actual cost, a physical year-end report that covers everything. Are there any questions?
What? Any question?
No problem. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Correct. Miscellaneous is just status. Miscellaneous expenses are revenues that were not projected for this fiscal year. That number is always going to be, sometimes we go over, sometimes we hit, sometimes we don't make it. However, it looks like we just kind of over-projected for that particular category on this budget. So that has been taken into consideration for the fiscal year 2026. Yes, let's see. Let's say, can I look at my computer right quick? Because I can get, well, I'll give it to you. Okay, so let's just, I can give you one instance. Sean actually was registered for a class, and he had a refund on that. We don't refund back into our expenditure accounts. We just put it in miscellaneous, as just miscellaneous revenue. And sometimes it's something that is not characterized. We might have, and I really have to look at it. I could look at it and tell you, I'm sorry. But it's just anything that is not, okay. Revenue from sales tax is not revenue from interest from income. It's not revenue from rental income. It's none of your characterized revenues. It's something that came in that we do not have a specific line item for. We usually go ahead and we deposit it into a miscellaneous account. So although I'm telling you that I actually do keep up with an Excel sheet. So I know exactly what those revenues are. So I can tell you, and if you like, I could actually give you, email you with the list of the revenues that make up this total up until this year. No problem. I will do that.
Thank you. I think there was there another question?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Certainly.
Ms. Jackett, on the fund balance reserve, that 1 million that you say it's going to be going out in September, we're not actually going to pull from reserves.
It's possible that we might not, because we have additional, a net balance. The reason why you see that there is, when we actually budget for last year, that 1 million came after the fact, right?
You're going to end with probably, worst case scenario, 5 million plus.
Correct, but I don't exactly know how the city is going to pull that out. If they're going to actually go ahead and take that draw from fund reserve and just let everything else go into the fund balance, or they're going to just eject it from there. I don't know yet, but I can tell you at the end of September what they actually did.
Okay. I'd like to say outstanding job whenever you go down to salary and benefits on your individual line, what's going over.
Yes.
Love that. But I do have a question on health insurance, because you've got that number from the city. What happened?
Correct. So I did get this number from the city, and I would have to check with them to see. It could be a number of things that could have happened. It could have been that they projected the amount prior to getting what the actual rate was going to be for insurance, and that could have happened, or it could be, I'm not quite sure. Now that I would have to ask to the city, but I know that is one thing that can happen. Since everything is projected for the next year, maybe they didn't have the exact rate or the rate correct at that time.
Okay, well.
But overall, we're okay.
No, I know we're okay. I'm just saying for budgetary purposes
Yes,
for
sir.
next year, that's one of the things that I would highlight
Yes, sir.
and make a phone call about. And if you don't get a great enough answer, then you're literally just going to take whatever this number ends up, and you're just going to have to add 18% for a budgetary number, because we're going to have to project off an actual and then just go for whatever increase. We're going to have a terminating pay number go in here. And I don't know if we should, for next year's budget, if we shouldn't put a number in for termination pay, just to have something sitting there.
So what happened with the terminating pay was for a year or so, I think a year, probably two, possibly, the city kind of overestimated that terminating pay, so we kind of overfunded into that line item. So right now, this fiscal year, we did not have a line item for that, and I do not believe they gave us one for next year either, if I recall correctly. Once we, so like you have like a, credit out there, right? Well, not really, but just overfunded. So they'll let us know whenever they get back to where we need to fund that line item, but currently we do not need to worry about that.
Okay, we just get the bill in, with the bill's a bill.
You shouldn't have one, yes. You shouldn't have a bill this time. can only go by what the finance department explained to me on that terminating pay. If you like, I can get back with her to verify when we will see, when we need to project for that line item.
All right, thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Any other questions? Anything else you want to add, Ms. Shackett?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time.
And thank you for a very good report. Move on to, there being no unfinished business, we'll move on to the one consent agenda item, review, discuss, and possible action regarding the renewal of the technical assistance agreement with Grow America.
Make a motion.
It's been moved and second to approve consent agenda item number 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Oh. Non-consent agenda items, number 1, to discuss for possible consideration a letter of request submitted by Lamar State College to apply for workforce development training funds. Is there anything?
Yes, sure. You have the letter of intent in your packets. Dr. Stafford is here today to talk a little bit about that request.
Thank you, Dr. Stafford.
Good evening. Good. Thank you. Always good to be here with you. Thank you for allowing me the time. If you have the letter we sent, and if you've had the chance to just glance through it, I would like to talk with you just for a moment about what I consider to be the best job potential I've seen since I've been with the college for the 15 years I've been with it. I'm sure you've all heard in the news that Gulf Copper has been purchased by a Canadian shipbuilding company, Chanter Davy Limited. Davy's been building ships since the 1890s, and they specialize in icebreakers. In the big, beautiful bill that is passed, so we don't have to worry about an upcoming budget, this money is already extant, there was money for 40 naval icebreakers. President Trump has said he wants 7 of those as soon as possible, and Davy has the contract to build those ships. They've purchased the Gulf Copper shipyard just down from us and purchased the facility in Galveston. I've been to both facilities. Gulf Copper is working as quickly as they can to build a shipbuilding apprenticeship program. They will be on site with us tomorrow for most of the day. They need 800 welders and ship fitters in Port Arthur. They need another 1,200 in Galveston. These will be jobs that when my students walk out of that welding lab and take that job, they'll have that job for their lifetime. And their children will have a job for their lifetime after it. I guarantee you it's the most exciting thing I've seen in the last 15 years. And that's in an area that sees a lot of growth. So you've got an explanation of the concept. We have not trained shipbuilders in quite some time, so it's quite a new venture. We hope to train welders and then ultimately ship fitters. We hope specifically to do training in confined space and out-of-position welding, which is what it takes to make an efficient shipbuilder. And we want to see local residents capture these very desirable jobs. I'd be glad to answer any questions or tell you any more about any aspect of the project.
Any questions?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw Mr. LeBeau.
That's okay, Mr. LeBeau.
Yeah, I looked through this, and what you want to purchase is like 20 welders, you know, when you put it together. What is different than these welders and the welders that you have at the...
At the moment, you know, when we rebuilt that shop during COVID, a partnership between this agency and the college, we never fitted out the welding lab. The welding lab has no welding machines in it. I only train to jobs that are hiring and I have not had anyone ask me to train welders. So the welding lab is sitting empty. There are no machines in it. The machines going in will be entirely flux core, which would be different than I would normally train, but that's what they want the shipbuilders to work with. So we're training specifically to this job. So we're purchasing multi-use machines, but we will focus on flux core welding.
Another thing is, I guess Davis has signed the contract already, is that correct?
They have signed the contract, and money is changing hands, I hear.
You don't see a fund match with them versus us?
I have not, no. I have not met specifically with the Davie people. What I hope to get out of Davie is an enlargement on what we propose here. Hopefully, an ability that what they propose is to actually raise the property and increase the production capacity of the property by fourfold. They propose to do the same thing in Galveston, entirely raise a 100-acre facility, destroying all 5 docks and completely rebuild it for larger capacity. I hope as they do that we get the chance to ask them to build us a second laboratory at their site. So that's the ask I hope to have to Davie, but they have not made an offer to help with the setup of the initial program.
It's to their benefit, of course.
Amen.
And what are you saying fourfold? What, they have 100 acres right now out here?
No, sir. The Galveston facility is 100 acres. This one is maybe a third to a half that size. They want the production of the unit to increase by fourfold, but on this one, they actually want to have it in production as they're building around it. So they're designing this facility, the way I understand it, will build components. It will build sections of ships in modular fashion. Those sections will go by barge to the Galveston facility, where they will actually construct them into the ship itself. So they hope to use every piece of welding capacity this unit has from the start, as soon as they can start production. And as that's in operation, they hope to build new facilities on the same ground, roughly 4 times the size of current. When they occupy those, then they'll raise the older buildings. So it's quite a project.
See how long it's going to take? 12 weeks, $6,000 a student.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
The only thing I personally have a problem with is you're going to get Port Arthur people, 65 Port Arthur people, over the next 5 years. To me, that's a long time. Negotiable?
It is, and I would point to, we had 5 years for 100 people when we did the training facility, and we met that 100 people, 100-person limit or goal within 2 years. I would anticipate we would see the same thing. I propose that number in 5 years, because if this project falls on its face, I still owe you students for that equipment, and I will have to train them over time. I don't anticipate it falling on its face. Contracts are signed, money's changing hand, they've put a lot of time into planning an apprenticeship. But business is business. So I propose it at 5 years for safety's sake. We will certainly train Port Arthur residents as fast as we can in actuality.
Your facilities is capable of holding these 20 welders?
Yes, sir. I've got 20 booths ready to go.
I have a question for you, sir. So aside from, I think I kind of have some of the same concern about, it seems as though we're being asked to, and correct me if I'm misinterpreting, but we're being asked to fund this entire effort? a safe?
The request to the Port Arthur EDC is to fund the equipment. I've turned in a grant for $425,000 to the state of Texas, and I should hear within this month. That will fund the teacher for the next 2 years to train students class after class after class. And the grading scheme for the grant looks specifically at, can you get these students employed? And the answer with this is yes. They want every student we can turn out. So I anticipate funding for the teacher, and this would bring funding for the equipment.
And the second part of my, I guess, question or concern would be, so I love to see the benefit, the projected benefits of Port Arthur residents. Is there any type of stipulation that would be put around the length of residency in order to be eligible for this program? Because I'm assuming if we are underwriting the cost of instruction, that this will be free to the students, or what would that
If the grant is awarded, all instruction would be free to the students for the next 2 years. If the grant is not awarded, then we would file it with the local workforce and be training unemployed residents immediately, and then looking for other grant assistant money. So we've never used a residency requirement. If we're using your money and you make that a requirement, we'll enforce that requirement.
Otherwise, how would it be, how would we ensure that compliance with that?
Typically have just looked at a Port Arthur address.
Okay.
We've never asked how long you've had this address, but a Port Arthur driver's license, Port Arthur address, Port Arthur utility bills. That's what we typically look for.
You're saying they're in need of 800 welders?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so.
A mixture of welders and ship fitters.
Okay. So the money, then if we decide to give you the money for the equipment, the training for the students, where I calculate comes up to that amount. So basically it's a.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I calculated the number of students to match the request.
You have not been approved for the grant for the $425,000 yet?
We have not yet, no.
Okay. I have a little problem with the 5 years as well, because you went to 380 up front, but we have to wait 5 years to
Yes, ma'am.
get all the students trained.
I can assure you I will train them as fast as I can, and I did that from an abundance of caution. If you want to shorten it, we can certainly discuss it. I would just say it's there in case anything makes this plan slow down, because you can never tell with a job this size.
Thing I had, Crystal, and it's not for Dr. Stafford, I don't think, but Grant Works just left here, and we can approve that. Is that something that we could have? They could do a grant for us on this?
In addition to what Dr. Stafford is already applying for,
This was for equipment.
we could certainly look into see if there's any available funding that would assist the college and us as partners possibly. I'm not sure how that would work, but this funding right now, the way we're looking at it, would come out of the EDC's budget, workforce development budget. And if it's okay with the board, I think if you'd like to further discuss it, we can take it into executive session.
Only thing, Madam Chairman, I was going to add, and this is just ancillary to Dr. Stafford, but Kate and I have done some work for another entity, not immediately in Port Arthur, but nearby, and it's still a work in progress because they have to get the site developed. But a company, Remitite, R-E-M-I-T-I-T-E, offshore shipbuilding and engineering, ROSE for short, is a process of acquiring a large tract of land just south of Port Arthur on the ship channel for the express purpose of providing an ancillary facility to a very large facility that Remitite is going to develop at Port Mansfield for shipbuilding. So I guess What I'm saying is, these are all, as Dr. Stafford said, these are not birds in the hand yet, but they are certainly projects, and we're familiar with Gulf Copper. One of our partners is working on a project for another client at Gulf Copper right now. But it does appear that there is a significant interest in a regeneration of shipbuilding trades in our area, and I do join with the board in, being cautious about the timing, but at the end of the day, I would very much hope both of these projects, certainly Gulf Copper and Remedity, move forward, and because of their proximity to you, that hopefully, and there'll be others besides Port Arthur residents, but it certainly would be very beneficial, it seems, if all the pieces could come together, but certainly the grant element of that has to go forward as well as your consideration of this project.
The questions for? Are there any additional questions we wanted to take this to executive session? Okay.
Pleasure of the board.
Okay. Is that the pleasure of the board? Okay. All right. We'll take the non-consent agenda item number 1 to executive session. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Non-consent agenda item number 2, to discuss for possible consideration a letter of request submitted by SIP Services LLC to apply for an economic development incentive.
Madam Chair, make a motion to move item 2 and item 3 to executive session.
There's been a motion to move item 2 and 3 to executive session. May I have a second? Mike.
I second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 4, review, discussion, and possible action to consider adding a clause to the current PAEDC economic development agreements regarding how businesses receiving PAEDC funds represent themselves in formal communications and on social media, requested by Director Jacobs.
So move.
You have some comments to make, Director Jacobs?
I do. And so just background, this request that I'm making, or this agenda item, is just precipitated by some observations that I've personally been making, nothing that anyone brought to me, but something that, as a concerned citizen, and then also wearing my EDC board member hat, I feel as though when a business comes to us, they're coming to the Port Arthur EDC to secure incentive for their business. That is in exchange for, of course, location in our city, and then also whatever the other, binding terms are, whether that's employment or creation of critical infrastructure, et cetera. And so I personally take offense and have an issue when a business does come to us, they are awarded EDC funds or an incentive, and then they choose to, not every business is tasked or it has to put a name or a location on their business, but when they do put a location, when it does not actually represent Port Arthur, it does not represent the city of Port Arthur. And there's one specific instance that's recent, and I'm gonna read, I sent them a message. I'm gonna read it to you, and I'm not gonna disclose the name of the business. I think most of us can critically deduce the business, but I sent this message to them via social media, and I said, hi, welcome to Port Arthur officially. As you relocated across Highway 365 into the city limits of Port Arthur, bearing a Port Arthur address and benefiting from the tax revenues, from our tax revenues via our Economic Development Corporation, many concerned members of our community ask that you seriously consider changing your business's online representation to read blank Port Arthur. This will be a great show of faith to the citizens of Port Arthur, many of whom have been loyal patrons of your business since you had a single location in Beaumont. We are proud Port Arthurans and doing all we can to continue attracting businesses and making our city attractive to businesses. We hope that you can show yourself a good neighbor and proud member of the community by representing the location in which you chose to establish a brand new brick and mortar storefront and manufacturing warehouse. Your decision to relocate is both commended and appreciated, to which obviously there was no response. And that is kind of what precipitated me wanting to add this here. So it's no mystery that Port Arthur is always an uphill battle about our image, our city branding. We're fighting against the obvious blight that you see driving even to this building. And so I think as we continue trying to progress forward, trying to improve our image, right? We hired a marketing and insights manager. We have Mr. Sean Granger trying to help. I think by us placing something like this into the language of our agreements, it's almost the same as saying, if you want incentive money, you need to hire Port Arthur residents. You should bear the name of Port Arthur when you're coming to do business here. We don't need anyone who has hesitancy or has some trepidation about bearing the name of Port Arthur when you're willing to accept our tax money. And so that's the basis of this agenda item. And if anybody has any other, I guess, questions or comments from me specifically, I'm open to that.
Okay, one quick, go ahead. All right.
I'm assuming that you're talking about a website?
In any means, right? It could be the actual title of the business. It could be their online representation via a website or their social media, which I think we all understand and know that in the year 2025, the majority of companies attract their business via the internet.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to follow with what you're saying. Are you saying that whenever they started construction, or they opened their doors, they hadn't updated their Facebook or their webpage?
I'm not sure what it is, but I do know that the business is open. It's a brand new business. If it existed previously, there's now a brick and mortar. And as it exists now, they have chosen to don the name of a location that is not Port Arthur, when indeed they are receiving EDC funds and they are located in Port Arthur, Texas in the 77642 zip code.
They still going off their old address? Is that what you're saying?
The name, the title of the business.
Like rail something?
Like Mid-County.
Is that what it said?
Oh, okay, all right, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't, but I am.
That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Do you still make that motion? You made a motion before she started. Well, it died.
Get our funds back?
No, we can't get our funds back. May I have a motion to approve agenda item number 4?
Well, hold on,
What's the action?
Well, hold on. Your general, what are you asking staff to formally put in?
I can say that.
And board members, I think you do have to be specific whether you're requesting to add the clause to current agreements, amend those agreements, or future incentive agreements, and also what that clause would be. Would it be a good faith effort for marketing purposes? Just be as specific as possible.
And so may I suggest, and I guess may I make, what is it, an amendment to a recommendation? So a recommendation to council to draft a clause in, I guess, currently executed agreements and those moving forward. So would it be an amendment, I guess, to the currently executed agreements, and then moving forward to have the language that says, and I almost don't want to say good faith. They need to do it. So make it a requirement that if indeed they choose to represent themselves with a location attached to their business, that if they choose to do that, it needs to bear the name Port Arthur.
If they are recipient of,
If they're a recipient of EDC incentive.
Well, I was just going to say, I understand, Member Jacobs' concern. He just said, I don't engage in social media, so, but I do think that the EDCs certainly can expect that you're entering into performance agreements, they're meeting obligations, and you're making an obligation by providing funds. So, and I haven't seen it done directly, but one thought, since it's in communication, social media, is to include in the incentive agreement a requirement that they, if an incentive agreement is granted, that they will place that notification on their website, acknowledging the receipt of a grant for job training, infrastructure, whatever, from the EDC, and they would place it on their website. And if they maintain a site on social media as well, I mean, some businesses certainly do, that they would do that, just make a formal acknowledgement of the receipt of the
Counselor, hold on a
EDC.
second. That's not what she's asking.
We do
She's
have
asking
a
for the branding-
EDC,
for the
right,
branding
to
to be
state.
such that it is specific to Port Arthur. It is not Mid-County or the greater Golden Triangle, that their branding and their marketing, whenever they list that location, it lists it as company ABC in Port Arthur, Texas, not ABC in the greater Golden Triangle, Mid-County, that it's Port Arthur. Is that what you're asking?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what she's asking.
We
Is
can
it legal?
include that. We do have one EDC that we represent, and in that, we do require them to put a placard at the business stating they receive funds from the Economic Development Corporation. So in addition to stating your branding Port Arthur, we can also include in there for a year or stating that we did receive funding, and that EDC that was very important to that board, so that people understood the reason the business was in that city was due to the fact they got an incentive from the EDC. And I don't recall that being in y'all's performance agreements.
All right, but still, I'm trying to get back to Ms. Jacobs.
The branding.
Doing funds provided by is like putting building financed by First Bank and Trust, okay? I don't think that's what Ms. Jacobs talking about.
It's not necessarily what I'm asking for, but however, I'm not opposed to that suggestion as long as it's in addition to what I'm actually asking. I don't mind that piece.
I don't think anything's necessarily illegal. It would just be that if its legal name is Kate Leverett Law Firm, Mid-County, and that's what you have filed with the Secretary of State, it would be hard for them to go, and it just depends on if it's their actual legal name or if it is just an easy branding. But again, we can speak with each incentive recipient, and of course, if they show us, hey, we filed with the Secretary of State, this is our legal name, we can't change it, that's one thing. But if they can brand that way, we can definitely make sure that they accomplish that.
Well, I just want to be a jerk with this question. You know, they can always file and change, because at that point, if you're just stacking up corporations, the name really doesn't matter.
I mean, they can do a DBA and say they're in Port Arthur, that's fine.
But I mean, they can just incorporate it that way also. I mean, that part of it doesn't make a hill of beans. Their backdoor company could be ABC Incorporated.
She was
You
just
know.
talking about the address, though. She's talking about the city. The city.
right, and it's 77642 is Port Arthur.
Correct.
It's not Mid-County, it's not Port Neches, isn't, well, that's true.
There's
That's
no
the other
Mid-County
side.
up there.
There
There's
is
a
no
mythical
Mid-County.
location, exactly.
So I don't think you can't about the
There in Port Arthur, because what we're trying to do is the mission of the organization, and we're undermining the mission of the organization when we give incentive to businesses that are not proud to bear the name of Port Arthur, because attracting business begets the attraction of more business.
Well, no, and I'll tell you what, I didn't understand where you were going this in the beginning, but no, I'm all for it. I mean,
Gotcha.
you're trying to play a game, and it's like, hey, if you don't want to be in Port Arthur, don't come to Port Arthur.
Don't take our money either.
Yeah.
Don't take our money either. Yeah.
I was just talking to Chris, maybe we claw this back even a little further, but it's be a work in progress. Put this in as a bullet point in the application that are you going to be willing to blank? And put it in the application that going forward, if you want to receive the EDC incentive, that you would put it, that you make that part of the application, so ergo then it will end up in the incentive agreement.
All right, I think just to make this easier, I make a motion, I amend the motion for everything that's been discussed to hand over to, to hand over to the attorney, come back the next meeting with the proper wording and what their recommendations are for the paperwork and everything else.
There. And I second that motion.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposition, motion carries. We'll move on to the executive session. The Board of Directors will recess at 7:07 into executive session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following topics. The items in executive session may be acted upon in open session. Section 551.072, deliberations about real property, specifically 501 Proctor leased property, and also to discuss non-consent agenda items numbers 1, 2, and 3. All right, this time we'll move to executive session.
All right, y'all, the time is now 7:49. We're ready to reconvene our regular board meeting for the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation. May I have a roll call, please?
Beverly Raymond. Here. Kayla Jacobs. Here. Jerry LeBeau.
Here.
Darrell Anderson.
Here.
Morris Albright. Here. Ingrid Holmes. Caprina Frank. Have a quorum.
Thank you. Coming out of executive session, we have one item that we have to consider here. That is to review, discuss, and possible action to approve a real estate purchase agreement with Mid-County Plaza LLC for the sale of approximately 2.5 acres of land in the Spur 93 Business Park at the purchase price of $62,100 per acre. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
All right. Moved and seconded, some things, have some discussions there.
Mr. President, what we will add is per the discussion with the board, a right of first refusal for an adjacent tract that this proposed purchaser may choose to acquire and then subdivide into 2 smaller tracts.
We're going to consider this sale of property with adding a right of first refusal for 5 additional acres, and have a motion for that.
So moved.
Been moved and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any future agenda items?
But I do have one thing on that before we. You're supposed to turn in our agenda items, the last day to turn in the agenda items.
A 3-day posting requirement now, and you have to think about holidays. We're just fighting one next week because Monday is Columbus Day, a federal holiday. So we have a client that has a Tuesday meeting that has to post their agenda tomorrow on Tuesday to get the 3 business days and not count holidays. So I think, looking ahead, you probably want to look at your meeting dates, and in January, you have a different meeting date under your bylaws unless you've changed it. It's the second Tuesday of the month, not the first Monday, and that's to elect officers, et cetera, et cetera. That's still in the bylaws. And y'all have, we don't need to go any further, but I think you just want to get a calendar and then look at holiday days and look backward. But I think it's safe to say, if you're not dealing with a holiday and you want a Monday meeting, the last day to post is the preceding Tuesday. And so if you want to have an agenda item on there, my suggestion would be Friday of the, not Monday, but Friday of the week before the Tuesday. So basically about 10 days before your meeting date, you have a drop dead, got to get the agenda items in so the president, et cetera, can mull it over on Monday, the week before the agenda, which is kind of the agenda review day. Want to have it preceding that, I would think, at least.
Yes. And we did send something out to the board, and I want to say we actually set it for the Wednesday before posting, so that makes it two Wednesdays before the meeting. So if you'd like us to put together a list of those dates, what they are, and send them to you, we can do that.
Anything else? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move. Second.
All right, we're moving second, all in favor? All right, see y'all on next month.
Jody, good to see you, kiddo.
I don't know. I think you said, wait a minute. Oh, go on here.